Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever or whenever you happen to be listening to this. Thank you for listening to the Sales for the Nigerian Wedding Industry podcast. I'm your host, Abuja based event and wedding photographer, Tavishima Ayede. Yesterday, I started off on a semi rant about the relationship between your sales processes and your sales contracts and your paperwork, basically all the back end stuff, which is much more important. And I was going to continue in that same vein today, but I've changed my mind because, as usual, something happened to me in a personal and a commercial context, and I figured that there are some lessons that we can learn here. Since I have made these mistakes myself in the past before, and I know some wedding vendors who still currently make this same mistake. So, without going into too much detail, the background is simple. I'm involved in a commercial context, let's say, with some other fellow, and he tried reaching me while I was back home. For those of you who listened to the last episode, you'll know that the last 2 weeks, the kids were home, and the last week or so, we were back at the villa. Well, not the villa. We were in Makudi, visiting kinfolk, and so it was a very busy time because I was surrounded by lots of kids, not just my kids, but cousins' kids, and things were a little bit upside down. So anyway, this fellow tried reaching me, and I should have been much nicer and returned his call. So yes, I accept that what I did wasn't very charitable. But bottom line is, this guy just kept blowing my phone up incessantly. And then, let's leave that commercial aspect aside. I'm not going to go into much details. Yes, I am admitting that what I did was uncharitable, but nevertheless, there are things that we can learn from it from the other end when we are the one who is incessantly trying to blow up somebody's phone because we're trying to reach them. Now, then there's also a personal context to it because there's some other fellow who we have some personal runs, but this one is purely personal, family, family stuff. You know how it is. We have family, we have extended family, and once in a while things crop up. So we're supposed to have hooked up when we're in Makudi, but things didn't turn out like I expected. And then plus, I hadn't been home in a while. To be honest, I hadn't been home in over a year. So lots of people that I had to see, cousins, uncles, aunties. In fact, now that I'm back in Abuja, I know that when I start calling them up, like, hey, what's up? How far? Happy Easter. I was in Makudi. I couldn't come around, I couldn't reach Boko, I know that lots of folks are going to be offended, but anyway, I had limited time, had to get back because I have a business to run and the kids have to go back to school. Anyway, so yes, so there's that personal episode there, and so this fellow couldn't reach me, and he just kept blowing up my phone, and so that got me on this whole thing about phone etiquette, because the phone is a very important way that we're going to use to build up our business as wedding and event industry professionals. And so phone etiquette is something that we need to look into, because when used the right way, the phone is a powerful tool to grow our businesses, because everybody has a cell phone. So people with their phones theoretically, 80% of the day, and so it's going to be a useful way to reach people and advance our cause forward. So phone etiquette is something that we should pay attention to, because used the wrong way, like in this case, where you continually try to blow up somebody's phone because you're trying to reach them, done the wrong way, the phone can actually be a source of irritation and might grind your sales process to a halt if you don't know how to use the phone the right way. So, bottom line, the question I'm here to answer today is, should you blow up people's phones? Should you keep calling incessantly? So, yes, they might owe you money, or maybe when I say I owe you money, maybe it's you've gotten the deposit from the bride and the wedding date is getting closer, and so you want to collect your balance. Or maybe you just met at the wedding fair. She seemed like she was interested in having a chat about you planning the wedding or you handling the wedding photography, and you don't want to let go of the momentum or the traction that you've gained. So you guys were at the wedding fair on Saturday, and so now it's Monday. You call at 8 a.m., she didn't answer. Then you call at 10, she didn't answer. Then you call at 12, she didn't answer. Then you call at 2, then you call at 4 because you don't want her to forget you. You want to hop on this right away. So is it a good idea to call incessantly? Is it a good idea to blow up somebody's phone? Now, in my own opinion, I don't think it's a good idea to blow up somebody's phone. What is the right level of cadence? I can't give you that answer because it depends on the level of rapport that you've been able to establish with this person, what your relationship is, and things like that. So, there might be someone who it might be appropriate to call at 8, and if the person doesn't answer, you call at 10, and if the person doesn't answer, you call at 12. So, for instance, between me and my wife, that would be appropriate because we have that relationship, we have that rapport, we have that commonality. And so, in fact, if I pick up my phone at 9:45 and I see that she tried calling me at 7 and she tried calling me at 9, I know that I have to call back immediately because it's something really important. But it's not the same with my commercial partners. Let me put it that way. So, what's the optimum cadence? It will depend on these factors that I have listed out. Your relationship, the commonality, the rapport that you have, whether this is a personal or commercial context, and things of that nature. So I'll leave the optimum cadence to be up to you. So whether you call multiple times in a day, or whether you try today and try again tomorrow, or whether you try today and space it out every 2 days. But what do you do next? Now, this is the most important part of the equation. For some reason, a lot of Niger people haven't gotten, and I've met some wedding vendors who still haven't got this part, like wedding photographers, for instance. I'm not picking on them, it's just that I'm a wedding photographer. I hang out around wedding photographers. And so this is the primary place where I see this misuse or misapplication of the phone, and then for some wedding planners as well. So you call in the morning, no answer, and then you call in the afternoon, no answer, you call in the evening, no answer, and then tomorrow you repeat the same process. Maybe you do it for 2 or 3 days, there's no answer, and then you stop, and then you give it a period of maybe a week or two, and then you hope that you can call at some time and then catch them off guard. Or what some people do is you try calling using your Etisalat twice, they didn't answer. So, you now go and get your glow SIM, put your glow SIM in, and then you call. And hopefully they pick up the phone because maybe they don't have your glow number stored, and then all these games. But anyway, this is what you should do, in my own opinion, when you call the first time. Now, when you call the first time, sometimes people don't answer because they're not with their phone. Sometimes it's not a good time. But I really think that for the average person, if they don't have a sense of what the agenda is, then there's some apprehension about whether they should pick up the phone in the first place. So, yes, you met her at the bridal fair, and yes, you guys got along like, long lost friends, and you guys really jived, and you really flowed and all. But the thing is, she may not have stored your number, or maybe she did. But the truth is, at that wedding expo, she may have met 12 other wedding vendors. So even though she might remember the conversation and the fun that you guys had, she might not know which photographer specifically is calling her. And we're business people, so we use the phone all the time, but average people are not like us. They don't go around every week calling dozens of strangers. So there might be some apprehension like, you know what, let me just leave it, I'll get to that later. So there are lots of reasons why people don't answer the phone. So what you do is, knowing that there's some apprehension about what the agenda might be, is you leave a text message. And that is one thing that people fail to do. Like this person that I was involved with on a commercial matter, he didn't leave a text message. And quite frankly, at some point when my phone rang again and my mom asked, is this so and so? And she was wondering, like what could the matter be? And really, like, what could the matter be? We had no idea. On the personal front as well, for that family member of mine who kept blowing up the phone, a simple text message is a nice way to ease things along. So, like where you have a commercial relationship with the person, like in my own case, a simple thing of, hey, Tawishima, how far? I've been trying to reach you. I called you at I called you in the morning, and then later on in the afternoon, it is concerning this, and that. Can you please get back to me so that we can move this process along? Because if we don't, we're going to miss so and so deadline. And if that happens, we're not going to make this deal. Now, I'm going to find my phone eventually and see 2 missed calls from X, and I'm going to see the text message, and then it will jog my memory like, oh yes, this is something I need to do. I'll now quickly call somebody else like, hey, can you please help me watch the kids for a bit? I need to go over here to a quiet place. Let me get my laptop, borrow one of my cousin's internet, and go and get on that thing immediately, and then we move things along. And also the same thing when it comes regarding the personal matter. Hey, Tavishima, I've been trying to reach you. Remember, you said you were coming to Makudi, and we have to discuss this, and this regarding the family. Hit me up when you can. Either way, I'm going to be around Auntie so and so's house at this time. If you're free, come through. Let's chat. A simple text message. It has a way of moving things along, and so that's something that we should also do as well. So what the content is going to be determined by your previous interaction history. So looking at this example that I gave for the wedding planner, and you got along really well with the bride. The text message could be, something simple. Okay, I'm just riffing from the top of my head, so don't use this as a template per se. So, hey, Bingpe, it was really nice chatting with you on Saturday. I'm glad that you came by my stand. This is Kemi of Everlasting Wedding Planning Services. I'm the lady that we had that wonderful conversation about regarding chocolate cake. I really would love to plan your wedding. I'm glad that we got along, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you some more about what it would take to have me as one of your preferred vendors. There's no need to call me back if you're busy. I'll call you again in a couple of days to see how we can move things along. Something, well, okay, that is too long for a text message, but the spirit of what I just proposed is what you should be looking at. So you send that as a text message, or you send that as a WhatsApp message, and then the lady, let's say she's busy, she works as a nurse, she comes back, she sees your missed call, she sees that, and then it jogs her memory. Oh yeah, that was that lady. And Nigerians are decent people. Chances are she's going to send you a message back. Oh, I'm sorry, we were in the theater from 9 a.m. To 3 p.m. and that is the shift that I'm working this week. Can we talk by weekend instead? You receive that text message. In my own opinion, I don't think it would be nice that, okay, I have her on the phone now, let me now call. Just respond with a text message back. Okay, weekend is fine. Weekend is fine. Would 10 a.m. be okay? She replies back, 10 a.m. is fine. And then cool. You just pull out your calendar on the phone, or your diary, or whatever it is that you use, your Evernote, your Google Docs, your Google Calendar, your iPhone calendar, whatever tool it is you use, and then you just make a note there, and then you call her up on Saturday again. And so that's the way to use the phone and to move things along. You don't just blow up people's phones incessantly. You are getting them incredibly anxious and worked up and hesitant. So what you do is you call, there's no answer. Don't assume the worst. Send a simple text message that just identifies you and gives a hint or an agenda about why you are trying to get in touch. The person is going to see it. The average Nigerian is very polite and will get back to you. What is the optimum cadence? I don't know. I'll leave that for you to decide. But for now, I'm experimenting with 2 days. So typically, I'll hit someone up now, no response. I'll send the text message. The agenda will be there. And then I just take my calendar and I push it back 2 days. You'll find that a lot of people call you before the next date that you have scheduled. And if the person doesn't call you back within the next time that you've scheduled, there are other scripts that you can explore. Other courses of action that we will look at future episodes of the podcast. But for now, we've already run over, so let me leave it like that. And so, in the summary, should you keep blowing people's phone up? No, don't blow the phone up. Try and stack it out. Look for a nice cadence. But more importantly, rather than focusing on what your cadence is, that should you call back every 2 hours or every 2 days or every 2 weeks or every 2 months, get the habit of having that common courtesy of sending the text message or the WhatsApp message after you call that says, hello, Mr. So and so. This is me. We met at blah, blah, blah. This is what we discussed. I was calling to find out if you're still interested in moving things further. I will call you back again on so and so time. It's simple. It's simple. It gives them an idea of what it is that the whole thing was about. It establishes some familiarity. It lessens the anxiety about why is this guy just blowing up my phone, and it helps you move the whole process forward. Good morning. This is Kemi, Everlasting Wedding Planning Services. I tried calling you earlier. Number was unavailable. I called because of 1, 2, 3, 4 things that we discussed. Because Mama said that it has to be Egyptian cotton, and if we're going ahead with Egyptian cotton, we have to have the deposit paid today so that we can deliver it by next week, Wednesday. Call me back when you're free. Full stop. Something like that. It will depend on the circumstance. It will depend on the previous context. But just adopt this whole attitude when it comes to using the phone, and you'll find that you're going to get your calls returned a whole lot more easier. Even if your calls are not returned, definitely you'll get the people on a texting trail, and of course, it's better than nothing. I'd rather call so that we can wrap this thing up in 2 to 5 minutes. But if you're dealing with people who are much more comfortable with texting, then just meet them where they are and continue with that whole texting thing. Okay, so thanks for listening to the Sales for the Nigerian Wedding Industry podcast. I'm your host, Abuja-based event and wedding photographer Tavishima Ayede. I'll catch you guys on the next episode, and if all goes well, if I don't find any other thing more interesting that distracts me from what the main conversation is, we'll be back on the whole thing about sales processes and contracts and the whole back-end function of the business. So, have a wonderful day.